Is Bitcoin and other cyber currencies a good investment?
Hey Tom, it's the one and only Floyd Money Mayweather. First I want to say congratulations on your YouTube channel. Everybody needs to follow your YouTube channel. So what everyone needs to do is subscribe to Tom Pang. Great guy, great person. Tom, keep up the great work.
Bitcoins and cyber currencies. This is a topic that I haven't really talked about in this channel, and partly because to make it fully transparent, I've never invested in Bitcoins or any cyber currencies because I'm not really into any kind of speculative investments. I don't do stock market, not too much. I don't do real estate, buy low, sell high, and I don't do that kind of stuff. And therefore, I don't really do Bitcoins. But it doesn't mean that I don't understand it, and I will explain why I choose not to touch stock market. But over the last year, we saw the Bitcoin prices went up 20%, right? So people are getting excited about Bitcoins again, and the reason why people put money into Bitcoins is of course because of the global crisis, right? People are looking for a way or a place to invest their money to hedge against depreciation of money, right? Because they want to put the money in a place where the money doesn't lose value. And traditionally, the way to do it is to invest in US dollar because people trust US dollar, or invest in gold because people believe in gold. Gold will hold its value, right? Because there's only a limited amount of gold in the world. There's not a lot of gold in the world. So if you buy gold, it will only appreciate in value and not depreciate because it's a limited resource. So traditionally, it's either US dollar or gold, mostly gold, right? They see gold as the standard for investing, to protect your money, to save its value, especially in a crisis or in bad times. But because there's a whole new generation of people that are more aware, they understand the technology better, and now cyber currencies, including Bitcoins, is now a choice for investors to invest and hedge their money. And Bitcoins, in a way, is also a very limited resource because you cannot just magically create Bitcoins. These things have to be mined. So you actually have to have a room full of computers, solving really difficult math problems, and using up a lot of electricity. It actually takes a lot of money to create a Bitcoin. So that's why Bitcoins have value, because it's a limited resource. But even with that said, Bitcoins have value only because we believe it has value, right? Because Bitcoin is really just ones and zeros. It's just some kind of digital asset, right? It doesn't actually have any value. Bitcoin actually has no value. Similar to this thing in your in your wallet, this thing here also has no value. The reason why, this is just a piece of paper, this is just a piece of plastic paper, but the reason why you believe this thing has value, you can trade this for, let's say, a latte at Highland Coffee. The reason why you believe this has value and everyone believes this has value is because we believe it has value, therefore it has value, right? If we all stop believing this has value, then it stops having value. And that's how currency works, right? This is just a piece of paper. That's why gold is such a standard when, if you really want to protect the value of your assets or of your money, then you invest in gold, because gold is a physical, real thing. This is not. This is just, a piece of paper, right? So similarly, Bitcoin is just a fiat currency in a way, right? Because you can create it, even though it's hard, but you can create it, and people believe it has value only because people believe that it has value. When people stop believing Bitcoin has value, and the value of Bitcoin will drop, it will dropped to nothing even, right? So that's why I don't really believe in investing in cyber currencies, because it's all purely based on belief. So why did Bitcoin like take off in the beginning? I'm not gonna go into the history of Bitcoin, you know, Satoshi and the Japanese guy, which is all not true. It's actually not invented by this person. It's actually, I'm not gonna touch that story. But why did people, buy Bitcoin, and how did Bitcoin get started? Because Bitcoin was really created to solve a problem. It's getting a little bit warm in here, so I'm gonna... See, Bitcoin was created to solve a problem, and that is being able to transmit money from person A to person B anonymously, right? So if you want to send money from person A to person B without the government knowing, without anybody knowing, Bitcoin was the solution. You can transfer that money internationally from one country to another, between one person to another, without, being detected, without people knowing who made this transfer. But that was the original solution Bitcoin was created for. It is to protect the anonymity of the people, transmitting money, right? But actually, that problem has already been solved. It's this thing. When I pay this thing, when I give cash to someone else, it's also anonymous. Like, nobody knows. The government doesn't know that I have this money, I gave it to somebody else, right? The government, the banking system only know if you do it through a bank transfer, for example, right? They only know how the money was transmitted if you do a bank transfer, if you do a credit card transaction. But when you use cash, nobody knows. Nobody knows like how you use this cash. It doesn't have people's name on it, so you don't know how this piece of money was transferred from person A to person B to person C to person D. So cyber currency like Bitcoin was created for the purpose of protecting the anonymity of people when they transmit money. And how Bitcoin and cyber currency is better than physical money is that you can actually use it cross borders. You can actually transmit from country A to country B without detection. And for example, you cannot bring a lot of cash from into or going out of Vietnam because they do check for that kind of stuff, because they're worried about money laundering and situation and problems like that. Because the authorities are concerned about money laundering and problems like that, so they don't allow you to carry a lot of cash, cross borders, right? So Bitcoin was created originally to solve that problem, and it solved that problem really, really, really well. So the early adopters of Bitcoin are people that want to hide their identity when they transfer money. Okay. You can't really use Bitcoin to buy a cup of coffee or do most daily transactions, right? Bitcoin is really just a way to transfer money between people anonymously, right? That's how it took off. But today, people invest in Bitcoin not because of the anonymity. People invest in Bitcoin because they believe that it will rise in value. So the reason why, Bitcoin today is like $20,000, like almost 100 million dong, more than 100 million dong per Bitcoin. The reason for that is because people speculate. They buy Bitcoin hoping that it will go up in value, right? It is a speculation, right? People don't buy it because it's convenient for them to, to buy a cup of coffee or to buy things, right? They don't do it for that reason, because it's actually pretty difficult to use Bitcoin to buy stuff. They do it, they invest in Bitcoin really as a way to speculate. They hope that the value of Bitcoin will go up, and therefore that's why people put money into it, and that's why it's speculative, and that is why I don't get into it, because anything speculative, you don't know whether you're going to win or lose, right? And the fact that it went up 20%, it's already too late. I mean, like, you don't try to get into Bitcoin now, because the value has already gone up, right? It's too late. You should have gone in like much earlier. In fact, if you have gone into like Bitcoin like at the very beginning, right, your return is probably like 10,000 times or 20,000 times, because there was a time when Bitcoin was basically worthless, right? For example, if you bought a pizza, and this is a true story, somebody bought a pizza with a lot of Bitcoin, right? And today, using today's value, that pizza would have cost him like $20 million, right? Because he basically, the Bitcoin that he used to buy that piece of pizza, if that same amount of Bitcoin is accounted for today, it's worth $20 million, right? So it's crazy. Bitcoin has really gone up because people really put money into this currency to raise its value. It's all speculations. So long time ago, I think it's in the early 20th century, I think it's in Netherlands, right? People speculated on flowers. I forgot the name of the flower, but people were buying and selling flowers, and it was so ridiculous. Like you have flowers that are worth like $10,000-$20,000, right? And that was completely a bubble as well, right? People bought the flowers thinking that it will rise in value. Eventually, people keep on buying the flowers, and the price keep on going up. Eventually, at a point, it crashed, right? So a lot of people lost their money, and I'm afraid that someday same thing is going to happen to Bitcoin, and you just don't know when it'll happen. So that is what I believe, and I'm telling you so. I do not believe Bitcoin is a good investment, and just because it's not a real thing, it's not something that you can really use in your daily lives. It's really just an investment vehicle, and it's highly speculative. I wouldn't advise you to get into it, but if you made a lot of money in Bitcoin, good for you. You got lucky, all right? And if you disagree with me, and that's okay. We don't have to agree on cyber currencies or Bitcoin. If you don't think I said is right, comment below. Write down why you think Bitcoin is the future, right? Well, I know all the reasons why people say it's the future, but I just told you many reasons why I don't believe it is the future. All right, put it in the comments so I'll read it. Maybe you'll convince me. Take fucking action. And I always believe in hard work. I always believe in earning money with your time and effort, right? Speculation is not the way I would do it. Don't be a fucktard.